case of a missing 20-year-old Victoria woman. We have details from a news conference held by the Victoria County Sheriff. The state Supreme Court has heard arguments from women who were denied abortions. Now they are deciding whether to block the state's abortion ban. And in the holiday season, the need for blood donations rises in the Crossroads.
We are looking for more clouds tomorrow, more than today. And then I got to give you a heads up. I'm looking for heavier rain this week, and that would be on Thursday. Got a little alert day. We'll be talking more about that coming up in a moment.
And we see highlights from a few area basketball teams. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. Authorities believe they have found the body of Amanda Stevenson. Her mother reported the 20-year-old missing last Tuesday. She was last seen Sunday, November 19th, the week of Thanksgiving near Salem Road. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has more.
Amanda Stevenson went missing just days before Thanksgiving and her 20th birthday. The Victoria County Sheriff's Office found a body they believe is Amanda Stevenson. The body was found in a creek near a bridge close to Patriot Park. The VCSO hosted a press conference this afternoon to share more information, but they did not take questions.
Our investigation has resulted in a preliminary identification of the missing person, Amanda Stevenson.
After discussions with the family and the Victoria Police Department at the location, the VCSO believes the body found is that of Amanda Stevenson. The VPD interviewed Amanda's associate, Kevin Bennetson, about her disappearance. The two reportedly went mudding with ATVs before she went missing. In a second attempt to interview Bennetson, he took his own life in the 900 block of Ballpoint Road on November 22nd. Then, officers searched a piece of his property near Yoakum and other locations Bennetson would frequent. Authorities weren't alone in the search for Amanda. People in the area created a Facebook group called Find Amanda Stevenson. The Facebook group has more than 5,000 members. Users posted what they knew and even hosted search parties looking for Amanda. The word continued to spread as people shared the story across other social media platforms.
Victoria, Texas. She has been missing since
her mother posted her appreciation for everyone's involvement and concern. Now, the family and authorities are waiting for confirmation after an autopsy is done. Reporting in Victoria, I'm Adarius McCormick, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
And here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. How often do you use a ride-sharing program? Daily, weekly, monthly, a few times a year, or never? Of those choices, the most votes came for never at 82%. Thank you for voting and come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. The city of Victoria is lifting some of its drought restrictions. The city has been in stage 3 of its drought contingency plan since July. Recent rainfall has allowed the water level in the primary reservoir to rise to 52 feet above mean sea level for 14 consecutive days. The city can now end stage 3 and re-enter stage 2. Residents are no longer required to follow many of the stage 3 restrictions, such as the limitation of watering to designated days. And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Mac, that is encouraging news, and I guess in this case, more encouraging news you have, there's more rain coming.
Yes, we're optimistic that we'll get a good dump of rain on Thursday. Now, it's important that we get ready for it because this is kind of be an all-day thing. This is Future Tracker at 9 p.m. Tomorrow, and you can see how Wednesday is when it begins, but Thursday is the day we've got a good chance for rain up and down much of eastern Texas, and that includes our area as well. Could we see up to a ½ an inch? That's very possible. We may even have some heavy thunderstorms. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. A truce between Israel and Hamas held for a 5th day as more hostages were freed from Gaza. The latest swap of hostages for Palestinian prisoners went into Tuesday night. Israel said 10 of its citizens and 2 foreigners were freed by Hamas. Around 30 more Palestinian prisoners are expected to be released as part of the deal. They are facing pressure from the United States to better protect Palestinian civilians in Gaza if it follows through on its promise to resume the war. Among the hostages freed are relatives of a Central Texas man. KXAN reports Dory Roberts of Leander said his cousin and her 2 daughters were among the Israeli hostages held captive by Hamas for nearly 2 months. Roberts said after 50 long days they were freed on Friday. The daughters are just 2 and 4 years old. 2 of his relatives still remain hostages. Not all of his family members made it out alive. Roberts said his aunt was killed while in captivity. The Texas Supreme Court heard arguments today from attorneys on behalf of 22 women who were denied abortions. The hearing focused on the decision of whether to block the state's abortion ban, which would allow abortions to resume in cases of medical emergencies and fatal fetal diagnoses while litigation continues. The lawsuit is asking the court to block Texas abortion bans due to uncertainty surrounding the meaning of the exceptions to the laws. Sandy Hook families who won $1.5 billion against Alex Jones are offering to settle for about $85 million over 10 years. During Jones's bankruptcy case last week in Houston, the families proposed the offer, which includes 2 options: sell his estate or commit to paying a minimum of $8.5 million yearly for a decade, plus 50% of any income exceeding $9 million a year. If Jones rejects the family's offer, a judge will decide the amount he owes to the families and other creditors. A Houston man is being charged with felony arson in San Jacinto County for a fire at his home that killed 2 men. KTRK reports a grand jury met Monday morning and issued a true bill for Mario Roberson after a months-long investigation by the Texas State Fire Marshal's office. Roberson's rental home in the neighborhood in Huntsville caught fire in June. 2 men, including one of his family members, died in the fire. Another man escaped with serious injuries. There were some tense moments on the Rio Grande recently involving migrants. DPS troopers jumped into action to save migrants from drowning or being swept downstream while they were crossing the river near Eagle Pass. This dramatic video shows the Tactical Marine Unit as they responded to numerous submersion injuries resulting in life-saving measures. DPS says troopers acted fast in using personal flotation devices, pulling women and children out of the river and performing CPR. It's been 2 weeks since a deadly charter bus crash in Ohio, and body cam footage was released showing the fiery crash. The bus was carrying students from a high school when it was rear-ended by a semi-truck. 6 people were killed and over 12 were hurt in the 5-vehicle crash.
Harrowing moments as first responders race towards a fiery 5-vehicle crash on I-70. Around 8:45 a.m. November 14th, dash cam video shows an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper responding to the scene as dark smoke pours into the sky.
Lancaster, this is going to be a charter bus. They're both full engulfed.
The chain reaction crash involved a charter bus carrying high school students, a semi-truck, box truck, and 2 passenger vehicles.
We got everybody out?
With fire trucks still on the way, the trooper runs to his trunk for a fire extinguisher.
Come on, let's get out.
He and several men pull a victim from an SUV.
You guys drag him over?
Then he runs to the charter bus.
Buddy, anyone here?
He yells for survivors, fearing everyone didn't make it off. But the fire and smoke are too thick.
Come on!
3 students on board the bus and 3 adult chaperones in another vehicle were killed. Investigators later determined 4 of the vehicles involved were slowing for traffic when a semi rear-ended an SUV and then the bus, which ignited a fire. The bus kept going into other vehicles.
How many was with this on this one?
I just stopped in that truck there. I was dragging the freaking kids off.
The 3 students killed were identified as John Mosley, Jeffrey Worrell, both 18 years old, and 15-year-old Caitlin Owens. The 3 chaperones were 56-year-old Dave Kennett, 39-year-old Christy Gaynor, and 45-year-old Shannon Wigfield. Now, the need for blood donations goes up over the holiday season. The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center is asking everyone who can donate to sign up to help soon. The The Blood Center has several blood drives coming up. If your company or organization would like to host a blood drive, they want to hear from you. The new Blood Center is located next to HEB Plus on North Navarro in Victoria. A Victoria native is busy this holiday season far away from home. Chief Quartermaster Matthew Rodriguez navigates landing craft during amphibious operations with the USS Boxer in the Pacific Ocean. Rodriguez is on a ship that is part of a group conducting integrated training and routine operations in the U.S. Third Fleet. Tonight's Sheriff's Town Hall meeting in Bloomington completed visiting all 4 precincts this year in the county for Sheriff Justin Marr. Intrigued community members were involved in an open panel at Bloomington Elementary School library to ask the sheriff questions. The sheriff said the attendees really liked the opportunity to come and visit in a relaxed setting. Sheriff Marr said this meeting with the community is very important to him.
It's an opportunity for me to get the real needs of the community out of the community members themselves directly, instead of it filtered and coming up through my office that way. Get to have a real conversation and understand their concerns.
The town hall meeting started in August and completed today, and they will start up again next year. Governor Greg Abbott is starting to target other Republicans who have opposed school vouchers. You can read the Texas Tribune article on crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, George Santos is facing another expulsion vote. This time he believes he will be removed from office. Also ahead, a spike in respiratory illnesses is being seen across the U.S. in 10 states. George Santos is facing another expulsion vote. Today, California Democrat Robert Garcia introduced what he called a privileged resolution to expel Santos from office. Earlier this year, Garcia tried to force a vote on a similar resolution to expel Santos, but the House voted to refer it to the ethics panel, triggering a congressional investigation. Santos has denied any wrongdoing and has pleaded not guilty to federal charges. A search is underway along the Mississippi River near New Orleans for several crew members who went missing from a bulk carrier vessel. The Coast Guard says they received an alert about the 4 men potentially being in the water Monday night. They said all 4 people are of Bangladeshi nationality. There is a rise in respiratory illnesses spreading in the U.S. 10 states are reporting high or very high activity of patients with respiratory illnesses in doctors' offices and emergency rooms. This comes as concerns are growing in China, where patients struggling with flu-like symptoms are overflowing hospitals.
ER visits for flu-like symptoms are ramping up across the nation. New CDC data is tracking a rise in respiratory illnesses, with 10 states plus New York City and Puerto Rico seeing high or very high activity, like South Carolina, Louisiana, Texas, and Florida. Experts say it's common for cases to spike in the South and then spread, symptoms ranging from fever and a cough or sore throat from any respiratory disease, including the flu, COVID, RSV, and the common cold.
Of course, crowded hospitals evoke some serious memories of COVID. This is not unexpected, given that we are in respiratory virus season and we have reduced immunity as a result of years of lockdowns.
Capacity at U.S. hospitals remains stable right now. However, concern in China, where there are scenes of overcrowded hospitals. Health officials say the infections in China are driven by known pathogens and insist they are not detecting any new virus like the world saw with COVID. China recently easing COVID restrictions.
Due to the arrival of the winter season, the increasing trend in respiratory illness is expected. Co-circulation of respiratory viruses may increase the burden on healthcare facilities.
The World Health Organization says since mid-October, they're monitoring data showing an increase in respiratory illness in children in northern China. The reported symptoms common to several respiratory diseases that the U.S. experienced last cold and flu season. In the U.S., flu and COVID hospitalizations are highest among people over 65, while most RSV cases are in children. Doctors recommending staying up to date with vaccinations, saying it's not too late to get your shots now. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A Dallas woman has taken her love for dolls and her pride for historically black colleges and universities to create a line of dolls representing HBCUs. Brooke Hart Jones created the dolls after she wanted to gift one as a gift to an old classmate. The dolls are sold in major retailers everywhere for young black girls to buy and enjoy. They have different skin tones and hair textures and different interests. Jones wanted to create the dolls for girls who look like them and show them what they can achieve.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's down to 48 degrees right there. We got up to only 62 today. Tomorrow we should push up to about 67, but then things get real complicated because on Thursday we've got a significant front coming through with quite a bit of rain. In fact, could see over a half an inch. We'll be talking more about that coming up in just a moment. Well, good evening, everyone. We had a pretty thick cloud bank hanging over our area, but the interesting thing is that up to the north along I-10, it was perfectly sunny today, but that cloud deck is going to be getting thicker and thicker over the next couple of days as, first of all, we start getting the southeast wind off the Gulf. That brings in moisture, and then we start seeing this high-level stuff moving in our direction. The main event is right about here. This is an area of low pressure that's going to be dropping down into the southwest. It's going to be another cold storm for the southern Rockies, but then it rolls across our area, giving us a pretty good shot at getting some rainfall. Now, when the, how do I say this? When the front comes through, that's one level of energy pushing the air up into the cooler climates. But when an area of low pressure like this comes through, well, that really pulls the air up. And you can see how we start getting rain here in the front of it on Thursday. And then by Thursday night, it gets pretty heavy as it rolls through the area. The low will then push rapidly through our region, and then we sort of get windy and cool. But because it dropped down south so much, it's not particularly cold by the time it gets here. Here's another view of Future Tracker as we go forward Tuesday, then Wednesday. You start seeing a little bit of rain showing up here about there Wednesday night. And it's Thursday when the main event arrives, and you can see all this rain that'll be rolling through our area. It'll be heavier in Houston and up toward East Texas, but the reason I keep saying we may have a couple thunderstorms is because already the Severe Storm Prediction Center has put us under a threat of possible thunder showers on Thursday. Now here's Future Tracker taking us all the way to Friday, and so we've got possible half an inch to an inch of rain right about here. So that is a significant amount. So we'll be watching and waiting for it. This is the map I was talking about. The Storm Prediction Center says that on Thursday we have, or at least half of us, have a chance for getting some isolated thunderstorms. So that would be thunder, lightning, a little bit heavier rain instead of that, even Steven kind of winter rain. But down south, less of a chance. Up to the northeast, a lot bigger chance. Our low temperature tonight getting down to about 49, and tomorrow we're looking at 67. Pardon me. Now, what about the rest of the city, at the area? Well, tonight we're looking for a low of 54 in Port Lavaca, getting up to 67 in the afternoon, but cloudy skies all day long. 48 for Cuero and getting up to 64 tomorrow. And here's what it looks like in the long term. So we're going to call it mild tomorrow because it's 67, but light rain late tomorrow night. More likely that by Thursday you'll see the rain pretty steady and then increasing during the day, so that by evening we have a chance for that thunder activity as the front gets closer. I'm calling it an alert day because I'm thinking it's going to be raining pretty much all day long. So if you got outdoor plans, you got to work around that. Now the front comes through by sunrise on Friday, but it's not particularly cold with high temperatures staying in the mid-60s, but it'll be cloudy and damp and drizzly and windy probably all the way through the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Now time for sports with Mr. Gino.
Thanks, Mac. A former Cuero Gobbler is heading back to Jerry World to try and bring home yet another championship, this time for the Longhorns. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, the St. Joseph Lady Flyers welcomed the El Campo Lady Ricebirds to town in a close one at the half. The score was 22-20 with St. Joseph in the lead. The Lady Flyers put the clamps on defense, allowing just 4 points in each quarter. They only allowed 8 points the entire second half, and they would go on to get the victory 45-28. St. Joe were led by Maddie Stefka with 14 points and Bridget Bluda, who added another 9 points. Masaya Warner had 11 points and 28 for the El Campo team, who is still searching for their first win of the very young season. After the girls defended the home court, the boys trying to do the same against Woodsboro. They rattled off 6 straight before the Eagles could even get on the board, and that would be how the entire night went. The Flyers dominated tonight in the 63-40 victory, and they were led by Bennett and Nick with 16 points. Kyrie and Ryan both had 13, and they had 4 guys in double digits scoring. They did a great job of moving the ball all around, and they add another win to the win column. Well, a Goliad track and field state champion is going to Utah to continue his throwing career. Caden Reagan has signed his letter of intent with the Utah State Aggies. Reagan won gold last year in discus and is getting ready to defend his title this year. But he's going to have to go for the school record for the longest throw, and he just needs a few more feet to get there. Reagan is one of many successful track and field athletes that have gone to represent the community in track and field, and Caden says it's just what they do.
I mean, winning's a tradition, and Goliad definitely has that tradition. So getting to come here and be a part of this program where I could be around winners and continue to win myself, it's nice.
Reagan was a deep snapper on the football team, and with the football season in the books, Reagan wants to turn his attention to the track and field season so that he can work toward achieving his goal. The Big 12 championship game is set, and a former Crossroads athlete will be playing at AT&T Stadium for the first time since winning a state title there back in 2018. Former Cuero utility player Jordan Whittington and rest of the Texas Longhorns punched their ticket to the Big 12 title game for the first time since winning it back in 2009, and will take on Oklahoma State Cowboys. Last time Whittington was at Jerry World, he led the Gobblers to a 40-28 victory over Pleasant Grove to win the Class 4A Division II state championship and Cuero's 4th in its history. The Horns and Cowboys play Saturday, December 2nd at 11 in Arlington. A Crossroads area running back is in the running for one of the most prestigious awards in Texas high school football, and that's the Mr. Texas Football Award. Tidehaven running back Joseph Dodds had a fantastic season, rushing for just over 2,000 yards this season and a total of 33 touchdowns so far. He has been one of the main factors in leading his team to the regional finals. If Dodds can win the award, he will become the first to win it from the Crossroads area since Howells running back Jonathan Brooks won it back in 2019. And lastly tonight, the AP reports Mavericks owner Mark Cuban is working on a deal to sell a majority stake in the NBA franchise to the family that runs the Las Vegas Sands Casino Company. The agreement would be in the valuation range of $3.5 billion, and it takes weeks for the league to process. Cuban would retain control of basketball operations in the deal. The family of the widow of a billionaire casino magnate Sheldon Adelson has announced it's selling $2 billion of her shares to buy an unspecified professional sports team. Well, that's your sports. Don, back to you.
Gino, thank you. Of course, we can still see Mark Cuban on Shark Tank on this very station. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, a man in Michigan keeps up with a Christmas tradition for 9 years straight. Climber who fell and slid several hundred feet down Mount Hood this weekend. They believe the 36-year-old woman had already summited and was on her way down when she fell. Rescue teams were able to quickly reach and secure her, but they had to wait 7 hours for the rescue basket to reach them. Then they were able to ski her down to the timberline and load her into an ambulance. In Japan, 3,800 people dressed as Santa, there they are, took part in a charity event to support children fighting illnesses. All of those Santas walked and ran at a park Sunday. Part of the entry fee is used to send gifts to the children. Similar events are held across the globe. The run kicked off in 2009 in Japan and so far has delivered gifts to about 16,000 children. That is awesome. And also awesome, all the great decorations here on the set from McAdams Floral get you in the holiday spirit.
Absolutely.
And I wonder if we put the poinsettias out, will it get some rain and maybe help their growth?
Yes, I think we should do that. No, there's so
I
many
don't know.
poinsettias.
Well,
we'll just leave them there. Besides, if we put them back together, it wouldn't look quite as
I think
nice.
a water
That's right.
basket would suffice.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's because we expect a pretty much of a big rain out on Thursday. You can see I have an alert day for you. I believe Thursday will be a wet one beginning in the morning all the way through the evening. In the evening, we may have some big thunderstorms to watch just before that frontal system moves through the area. Frontal system comes through by Friday morning, but it's not particularly cold, but it will be breezy and on the damp side right on through the weekend. Don?
Thank you, Mac. And finally tonight, the spirit of Christmas can be found on a lake in Michigan. Every Christmas season, one man launches a boat on Glen Lake. Secured to this boat is a lit Christmas tree. This year, they added multicolored lights to help the tree stand out. He says the community looks forward to seeing its return every year.
Santa knows about the Christmas tree boat, and he lets the kids know, I know how to find you, I can find the boat, so make sure your dad's got the boat lit up out there. So that's a thing. I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. The kids really enjoy it, the community embraces it, and we're happy to do it too.
This is the 9th year he and his children have put together the Christmas tree boat. That is the spirit of Christmas.
That's so unique. I've never even thought about doing something like that. Put a Christmas tree out on a boat.
Does the wind blow it? Or, you know?
I don't know. We need to sail away, though.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Before we sink.
That's right. For 25 News Now at 10. Join Carolina Astroin, meteorologist Parker Cox for 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.